Hold on to your hats. This could be interesting.
Welcome to TCBI Questions, the show where we ask the tough questions and the not so tough questions totally at random. And joining me today is Emily. Hi, Emily.
Hello.
First podcast you've ever been on?
Yep, I don't even really listen to them, so this is a first for a lot of things.
Well, thank you for joining me.
Anytime.
The rules for this are no skips unless the question doesn't apply, or your answer will only be one sentence, because that's really not very interesting. Adult language is okay. This podcast is marked as explicit, but only if it's actually needed to answer the question.
Mm-hmm.
And first question, which I didn't tell you about in advance, is what am I to you?
I heard it in the podcast that I listened to
You did
earlier. Too. I'm your friend from the internet.
Yeah.
Friend from the internet that now has officially met you. So, friend for reals.
Friend for reals. It's been, what, 5 years since we've known each other? Yeah.
I feel like it feels longer than it has been, because you were like, it's only been 4 years. I swear it was like 7. But maybe it has only been 4 or 5.
Yes, pretty sure it's only been 4 or 5. All right. Yeah. Let's jump into the questions. And we will start with a starter question. And in theory, when I click the button, it should pop up on your side as well.
Oh, let's test this out. Oh, there we go. Oh, good question. I love music.
What is your favorite style of music, and how often do you listen to it?
I really dig like indie alternative, kind of alternative pop music, and I listen to it all the time. My favorite band at the moment is the 1975, and it's on every single playlist. I listen to music every day. It's just kind of my thing.
I kind of thought that might be the band that was your favorite band.
I only talk about them every day on Twitter.
Yeah. Only every day.
Only every day. I listen to a bit of everything though, really. Everything. I can do everything except country and like anything too heavy.
Yeah.
But if it's boppy, I can dig it.
Yeah, I don't really listen to country either. But my music style tends to change, and at the moment I'm like, what music do I enjoy? Like, I'm having trouble finding stuff that's like, yes, this is really good, which is really annoying. Mostly listen to either electronic music or jazz. So it's a, nice 2 ends of the spectrum there.
Oh yeah, my brother studies jazz. He's real into it.
Yeah.
Yep. Do I click one now?
You can click one now.
I'll do another starter. Oh, what sound drives you crazy?
Everyone says fingernails on a blackboard, which does drive me crazy, but...
Mine is like... it's like scratching on smooth fabric. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Think cotton sheets, like nails scratching on that. I can't do it. Anything like like satiny, like scratching on that, I can't do it. That like those like bookmark things and like art that if you move it side to side, it's kind of holographic.
Yeah.
You know what that feels like?
Yeah.
Yet scratching on that, oh my God, it just gives me the heebie. I can't do it. I can do chalk. I can do like that kind of thing, but scratching on fabric, I can't do. So that's what sound drives me crazy.
I don't really have sound that, hugely drives me crazy, but I think this happens to everyone, but it's just like any noise is just making me irrationally angry. That kind of frame of mind.
Yeah. It's just like a shh.
Yeah. It's like you're breathing. Breathe more quietly.
Yeah. Stop existing right now.
Yeah, your mere existence is driving me crazy.
Yeah, I think there's definitely more things, but I was actually just talking to someone about that a couple of days ago, which is why it just popped straight into my head.
Yeah, fingernails on a blackboard kind of, jumped into my head because that's what everyone says, and that is just terrible.
It's the cliche, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, like nails on like concrete and things as well. It kind of like gets into my teeth, kind of. Like it feels like when I hear the sound that I feel like I'm, like rubbing
nails
my teeth.
on concrete.
Yeah, it feels like I'm like grating my teeth along the concrete when I hear the sound of it.
Oh, I get what you mean because that's the same with me in the fabric.
Yeah.
Like any fabric, like jeans as well. Oh no, I just can't do it.
I'll keep that in mind next time we're in person.
Scratch your jeans just to drive me nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh well.
Let's go a little bit deeper, shall we?
Go for it. Go 500, I reckon.
Too late.
Oh, I only went 100. Athletic.
To what degree do you consider yourself athletic, and at which sports do you excel?
Well, I wouldn't say I excel at any sport, but I'd say that currently I have like a moderate fitness level, but I wouldn't call it athletic. I run sometimes, and I do boxing quite frequently, a couple times a week. Well, I'll do it up to 4 times on a good week and maybe only once on a bad week, but I still go. Not good. It's not really a competitive thing that it's not really a thing that I do to be competitive at. It's just something that I kind of do for fitness.
Yeah.
So it's kind of depends what you consider athletic.
Yeah, it's all these questions are American, so that helps to keep that in mind.
But when I was in because I was in Australia for a little while, as you know, I played AFL, Aussie Rules footy, and that was honestly I had no idea of the amount of running I was signing myself up for until I started playing. That would be something that you needed to be quite athletic for, and I definitely was not fit enough for that. And I wouldn't say that I excelled at it either, but I do quite enjoy sports and being active in general. So,
and I am pretty much the complete opposite because I don't really enjoy sports at all.
Yeah, it's a mood thing, really, and it depends on the sport.
Yeah,
but like for a lazy person, I enjoy being active quite a lot, even though that's like the biggest contradiction in a sentence.
That's pretty funny.
I'm really lazy, but I also do enjoy, especially on like a nice day, just getting outside. It's really just clears my head. It's nice.
Yeah, we just bought a elliptical machine, cross trainer, so that's going to be good because
I'm doing the cross trainer actions right now, but you can't see me. So I'm just like punching the air.
Yeah, because I went to the gym for ages, but it was just such a hassle. By the time you get in the car and drive to the gym and then drive home, you lose like an hour.
Yeah.
Find a park and all that kind of rubbish. So it's just easier to have a machine at home.
Yeah, we've got like, we call it the gym, but it's just like an old elliptical and a what's the one that you run on? A treadmill. And and like a weights machine thing. But I've said honestly so many times, I keep catching myself after I've said it, it's driving me nuts. But there's nothing worse than running on a treadmill. It's so boring.
Yeah. I'm thinking I'll probably put a screen in front of the elliptical so that we can...
Well, I used to load TV shows up onto my phone and watch it while I was at the gym. But it's still, I like being outside when I run or something, because then I set little goals. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, if I get to this tree, then that's really good. Or if I get past this loop, then that's really cool. But if I'm on a treadmill watching, all I'm doing is watching the clock, and it drags so much. Like, it's the longest 30 seconds of your life.
Yeah, I always covered the display up at the gym so that I couldn't see all the time, and then the time would just fly by because I'd read a book or something. Because I'd take my Kindle and put my headphones in and put music on and read a book, and an hour would just fly past.
Yeah, well, I've started not even having music when I run because I don't have any decent headphones to run with, and I'm just quite enjoy the just nothing because I take my dog with me and I have to yell at him quite a bit because he runs off. But he just gets a little bit too far ahead, so I have to make because he runs faster than I do, so I just have to call him back. And I find that if I have my headphones in, I yell at them a bit loud, and people look at me a bit funny. So
It makes you sound like you're real angry at the dog.
yeah, I know, but he's pretty good. Right, I'm going to go 1,000 fathoms.
All right.
Go. Dun, 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 dun. How would you summarize the highs and lows of this past week? Well, it's lucky that it's a Friday.
Yeah.
A week to summarize.
It would have past week kind of suggested if it was a Monday, you'd think about the week before. So it's.
Well, we'll start. Consider last weekend as well. I can't remember what I did, but
I slept in on Sunday. That was nice. 8:30, which is a sleep in.
Which is a sleep in. So what is that? Your highs and your lows? What you can't just be a sleep in.
That is kind of a low, isn't it? Because then I don't get to sleep in any other day. What were the other highs? I discovered at work that something that went quite badly wrong was not my fault. That was quite nice. Excellent. Especially because we put the request in on Friday and I had to wait till Monday to find out what actually happened. So that was nice. And the lows was having to pull my podcast studio apart and put it back together because there was a hum and I couldn't find it. So I just pulled the whole thing apart and then had to put it back together bit by bit until I found the hum. And now I've eliminated it and it's good. But yeah, it took me a few days. So that was really, really annoying.
Bummer. All right, highs and lows. What did I even do this week? I worked. I really enjoy my job, so I guess that's a high. I'm a teacher aide and I'm really just loving it. Highs and lows. My parents come back from Europe tomorrow, so I won't have the house to myself anymore. I've been by myself for a month, and it's just quite.
Oh, wow.
You get quite accustomed to not having to
accommodate for other people.
Yeah, exactly. So that's going to be something new. I imagine it'll be quite frustrating trying to get used to again.
Yeah, it's a long time.
What else did I do? Went for a run on Thursday, and I actually just had a really good day yesterday. Like, I just felt really good about everything. So that was good. I had so much energy that I went for a run, and then I also went to boxing. I cleaned the house because I have to make it look like I didn't not clean the entire time my parents were in Europe.
I hope they don't end up listening to this podcast.
It's something I wouldn't tell them anyway. But I just blasted some music and just danced around. I'm sure you probably got a few Snapchats.
I did.
Of me dancing and singing, trying to kill some energy.
I usually have my volume off on Snapchat, but as soon as I saw the dancing, I turned it on. So that was quite funny.
That was the 1975. Shout out to them again, second time in the podcast.
You're not obsessed with them at all?
Not even a little bit. I don't think I've really had lows this week. I had a couple of bad nights sleep, but that's something that kind of you recover from after a couple of cups of coffee. So yeah, this week's been relatively good. So that's my summary. I could have summarized it with those like 5 or 6 words, but whatever.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be very interesting, would it?
Yeah, and I talk a lot, so.
Yeah, and you kept me waiting for 40 minutes tonight, so you promised to be extra interesting.
Did. I hope that I'm being interesting enough. I feel like I'm actually quite a boring person.
Yeah, so I feel the same way too, but people listen to my podcasts, so
How many listeners do you have?
I don't know on this one yet because I only released the first episode last week, so it's you have to wait like 4 or 5 episodes in to get an idea of people listening. But my other podcast gets about 200 listeners every show.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, which when you think of like putting 200 people in a room and standing in front of them and talking to them, it's a lot of people.
Yeah, How long does it take to get the 200? Or is it like 200 regular within a few days?
3 or 4 days.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, most people are subscribed, so they just automatically download it.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah. Welcome to the world of podcasting.
I know. It's just, I feel like I'm going to have to get into it. I should listen to podcasts on the treadmill.
Yeah, I guess with music you can kind of tune out, but if you tune out a podcast, you kind of miss everything.
Well, because with music, going back a couple of questions, with music, I find that it's not interactive enough. Like, I can't do that for an hour and run.
Yeah.
If there's something more interesting.
Yeah, I pretty much listen to podcasts all day, every day. Every time I find a new podcast, even if I've got 300 episodes, I'll download all of them.
All of them?
Yeah, all 300, and that'll give me, a month or two of listening, because I listen at work, I listen in the car, I listen at home when I'm by myself. Yeah, audiobooks are good too.
I've never given them a go because I actually enjoy reading, so I feel like an audiobook takes the reading part out of it. But
it's more like listening to a movie, I guess, especially if the person that's reading it does voices.
Oh, well. I'll figure something out. Or I'll just continue running outside.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. But I think it's your turn for a question.
I do think so. Let's go 500. What fuels you?
Competition. And money. I think if I was competing for money,
it'd be like you're the most motivated.
Against people that I didn't like. I would be so motivated.
Sounds like you'd be unstoppable.
I'd give you a run for your money.
Literally.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Sorry.
That was so punny.
I know. I'm really bad at that.
Oh, we're terrible. What fuels you?
Humor's definitely one.
Yeah,
I pretty much inject it into everything I do, because you might as well laugh about things, unless they're like crazy serious. I try and see the light side of things, which generally keeps myself and people around me, up and happy rather than, worried or whatever, if it's something that I can mitigate a bit.
It's interesting that I read it fuels as in like motivates, and you read fuels as something that you put into something. So it's quite cool that these questions give they're open to interpretation.
Yeah, only 3 words, and yeah, you're right. It's completely open to interpretation. There's a lot of questions like that because I think there's about 1,000 questions in the database.
Yeah, it's cool. I've been excited to do this since you tagged me in that thing. I'm like, I want to answer random questions about myself. I love talking.
Maybe you need to find a podcast of your own to start.
Maybe. I don't think many people would listen to it. They'd just be like, "Oh my gosh, we will just shut up."
You have to find a topic that interests you. So if you're not passionate about it, then there's no point doing it.
Yeah, I'll start podcasting instead of blogging. Rant about something.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there are people that just, get on in front of a microphone once a week and just talk. Talk about what they did, talk about whatever happens to come to their mind.
I don't have enough interesting thoughts to just talk about what comes to my mind. I'll just end up repeating myself 100 times.
I listen to a lot of podcasts like that, though, and they're actually pretty good.
Well, they're probably people with more interesting lives. Yeah. People that do things.
Yeah, my life is go to work, come home, do more work, go to bed, get up, go to work, etc. Maybe do some shopping on the weekend and clean and woo.
So I'm go to bed, get up, go to job 1, come home, have lunch, go to job 2, come home, go to bed, get up, repeat. Sometimes I don't have job 2 though, so I have afternoons off in which I tend to have like 4-hour long naps. Is it still a nap if it's 4 hours?
I don't know. It sounds like sleeping.
Pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, just a little.
Pushing boundaries since 95. Yeah.
That makes me feel old.
When were you born? What year?
91.
Oh, you're not even that old.
Almost 26.
That's not even old. I thought you were going to say like 87 or something.
I'm not quite that old.
Yeah, so I swear you're pretty much my age. Pretty much.
Pretty much. Yeah, close enough.
When you're at home alone, do you wear shoes, socks, slippers, or go barefoot?
Depends how cold it is and how lazy I'm feeling. At the moment, I'm wearing shoes because it's actually pretty cold in here. But yeah, if I know that I'm not going anywhere for the rest of the night, then shoes and socks will probably come off.
I guess depending on how cold it is a good answer, but I have been known to walk around with like one shoe on and one sock on, or one sock on and one barefoot. It just depends on what I'm doing and how bothered I am. But if I'm feeling like, if I'm really tired, or I just don't really care and don't have any intentions to go outside, it's just whatever's on my feet will do until I sit down. And then usually shoes come off because I quite often sit cross-legged and shoes dig into your legs. So
fair enough.
I feel like I knew way too much for that answer. I know myself too well.
Yeah, that was a pretty detailed answer.
I know.
All right. Click the used button.
I haven't clicked the use button for any of mine. Was I supposed to?
I've been doing it.
Oh, good. On to it.
500. What's the age of accountability?
As in, like, when you should be accountable for your actions?
Yeah. Well,
I guess it depends on what's happened. I guess it depends on the situation to which someone is being held accountable.
Yes, it really depends. There's different ages and different levels of maturity where you're going to be, aware of the impact of your actions and have the foresight to know that if you do it, unless you're like a sociopath or something.
Yeah, obviously if a 4-year-old or something starts crying in a car and causes a car crash, the 4-year-old isn't going to be held accountable, are they? But if the 4-year-old spilled milk all over the carpet, then obviously they're going to be in trouble for that. Like, it depends. No, but I thought that was a really good example. Like,
yeah,
you're not going to, it really does depend on the situation and what's expected at your age. You know?
Yeah, because I wasn't even thinking of things as simple as spilling milk. So when I think of like age of accountability, I go to, like crime and things like that. But yeah, it's actually can actually be a lot more broad than that. Yeah,
but like we could go extra like into what's relevant at the moment with like age of consent and everything. Yeah, obviously that gets quite complicated and it's quite controversial because people can argue that those younger than 16, which is the legal age, can be, and they can argue that it can't be. So I guess that's where the lines blur a bit. But yeah, it also depends on the person. Like, there might be a 4-year-old that isn't able to be held accountable for the milk.
Yeah.
Maybe they're a little bit extra wobbly,
It really comes down to other people's judgment, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I guess their own moral views and everything, because maybe they could view it as something that they shouldn't be responsible for, or there isn't anything wrong with it. So it's all very subjective. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, and then you compare whether you think you should be accountable with whether other people think you as well, because if your morals are completely different from everyone else's, then it's likely that you're going to be held accountable for something if you don't think you should be, because nobody else agrees with you.
Yeah. That was a good question.
Yeah, it's pretty decent questions, especially in the
500.
higher levels, 500 and 1,000, yeah.
I'm going to click 500 again because that was a good one. Oh, in an emergency, which friends would you feel the freedom to call in the middle of the night? I feel like for myself, it depends on the emergency. I know I could always call, it's going to sound dumb, but I could always call my parents.
Yeah.
They've always got my back, like, regardless of the situation. But a lot of my friends don't live very close to me anymore because I met them at uni in Christchurch, and obviously now I'm living in Invercargill, and they're elsewhere or still in Christchurch. So if it's an immediate emergency, it would probably be parents or a close family friend. But I've got a couple people that obviously I know would pick up if I rang. I feel quite connected to enough people to know that if anything were to happen, that I'd be okay, or would feel comfortable enough calling.
I know that a lot of my tech friends put their phones on silent at night because otherwise they have a billion notifications that get them awake all night. And that's even the case with me, but with Do Not Disturb on the iPhone, you call someone twice and the second time it overrides it.
Yeah. Also, the middle of the night, depends on what you call the middle of the night. Is the middle of the night for you 4 a.m. or 12? Because I feel like 12's not actually that late to be... Like, it's past, obviously, catch-up hours, but if someone called me at 12, I wouldn't be as pissed off as I would be if someone called me at 4,
Yeah. Or, 10 minutes before your alarm's due to go off. That's the worst.
I'd rather they call me 10 minutes before my alarm's due to go off than half an hour before.
Yeah.
I was going to say, 4 a.m., but then I was like, oh, nah.
Yeah.
But 10 minutes before...
Yeah, if I wake up and I look at the time and it's like somewhere between 10 minutes and half an hour before I'm due to get up, I'm going to feel robbed of sleep because I'm going to know that I won't be able to go back to sleep. But if I wake up, if the alarm's set for 7 and I wake up at 5, I go, yes, another 2 hours sleep and then go back to sleep. But
I know.
At 6:30, it's like,
I used to set my alarm for 7:45.
Yeah.
And that 15 minutes I'd always snooze just because it was just a little bit rough. I just needed that extra 9 minutes or whatever it is that the iPhone gives me when I push snooze. But then in weekends I'd find myself waking up at 8. So I changed my alarm to 8. And for a week I woke up 1 minute before my alarm every day, and it was excellent. And then my body accustomed myself to snoozing on the 8. So now it's at 10 past 8 I'll wake up. So maybe I need to go switch it back to 7:45. But that 15 minutes is so long.
Yeah, and it makes such a difference.
It really does.
It feels like it does, but I'm sure it really doesn't.
Oh, well.
That kind of sidetracked quite a lot, didn't it? But that's fine.
Oh, I did do it.
It's interesting where things go.
My brain just tangents and my mouth just spits it out.
I hadn't noticed at all.
Oh, that's a lie.
Yes, it is. 100.
Right.
When you are home alone, do you need the stereo, radio, or TV turned on, or do you prefer the quiet? And explain.
Music. I always just have something on. I don't really watch TV. Well, I say that, but I watch Netflix all the time. But TV as a thing, I don't really have on at all. I don't think I've watched any television since my parents left for Europe a month ago.
Wow.
So I tend to just plug it in and actually that's a lie. I watch music, like MTV music or something, if I can't think of what I want to listen to, just as background noise. But yeah, I don't like the quiet too much. Well, it's not. Sometimes I like quiet, but yeah, music's good. Because if I have a movie on, I know that all I'm going to do is stare at my computer screen or my phone screen or something.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to watch it. But the noise is always almost comforting.
Yeah, silence can be pretty creepy, especially at night.
Yeah, it depends on like when at night, because I will lie in my bed. Like I'll go to bed at like 9 o'clock, and I won't have music on. Then I'll just be in the quiet coziness of all my blankets. So it's quite. I like the quiet in that situation. But if I'm sitting in the living room or it's a nice day and I've got the doors open, airing the house out, I like to have music playing.
Yeah, we actually have like like reruns of TV shows playing to sleep too, and the dehumidifier is always on as well. And it took me a while to get used to sleeping with noise, but now, it's weird not having it.
A really good friend of mine has a fan on all the time because they just got used to the noise, and now it's too quiet for them if they don't have it.
Yeah.
But if it's too cold, they turn the heater on but leave the fan on. And it drives me nuts. And I'm like, why don't you just turn off the fan? Because you're just using so much electricity. And they're like, because I'm so used to the noise and it's just a nice warm breeze. It just grinds my gears. I just want to be like, come on.
Maybe they need a fan heater.
Although they just got the fan and it's so noisy. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, hope they listen to this podcast. They won't, but they're not a podcast person. Maybe I'll link it to them. Be like, I gave you a shout out.
Well, this will show up in your timeline when I tag you in it on Facebook, and people's timelines when I tag you on Facebook anyway.
Oh yeah. Everyone will be like, God, why doesn't she shut up? She just talks too much. Mum will listen and she'll be like, yeah, that's Emily.
All right. I think it's your turn.
1,000. Ooh. Would you want to know the date and cause of your death? How would that information change things for you?
I don't think so. Especially because if time travel is a complicated thing. If you know about it, then can you change it? Or is it predetermined, and even if you know about it and try and avoid it, will it still happen? Because
this is a yes and no answer for me. Like, if I had the opportunity to know and I said no, I would always wonder.
Yeah.
And then if I had the opportunity to know and I said yes, I'd be like, why did I want to know that? But I feel like with the way that like medicine and science and everything's happening, it's probably unlikely that it would be like long-term medical. Does that make sense? It would probably be more likely an accident or something that suddenly happened, like a heart attack or I don't know, which sudden, I feel like with the time travel thing, you'd be able to be like, okay, I'm just not going to go in the car that day if they were like, you're going to die in a car accident.
Yeah, and then that
information would change things for me,
Yeah, then, you get into paradoxes and all that kind of stuff, and
whether,
not getting in the car means that you'll just die some other way, or somehow you'll end up in a car without realizing it,
Yeah, what's that movie that everyone avoids death and then they all die?
I have
there's like
no
10
idea.
of them. Someone listening will be like, it's that. How do you not know what it is? I feel like it starts with F. Final Destination.
Oh.
Like that.
Yeah.
And we'll just be dodging death the rest of our life every half hour.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I think I'd rather just not know, and then, you try and Like you're
I'd
going to
rather
die
not
tomorrow
know.
anyway.
But then, if you knew it was soon, you could go on a real mean holiday and then not panic about money.
Yeah.
But then also, if mine was soon, I don't have any money. So I'd be like, oh, I'm just going to die and not even get a good goodbye going away death party.
That's the thing. It's like, would you have the funeral while you were still alive? Like like a couple of days before, so that you could be at your own funeral if it was predetermined.
'Cause that would piss me off being at my own funeral, because there'd be people that I don't like there that are only there kind of to make themselves feel better. As terrible as that sounds, like I would get so annoyed at my own funeral. I'd be like, "Why are you here?
Yeah,
Why are you
lost.
playing this dumb song?" Like, I couldn't do it. I don't actually even know if I want a funeral. This is wow. I told you I tangent so bad. Like, I feel like they're just so depressing. Like, I want if something to be happy. Like, yeah. But then I guess any kind of gathering after a death is really a funeral, regardless of the situation that it's in, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not always, everyone's going to be mourning, but it's also meant to be a celebration of the life that was led.
I feel like I'd want like a party. Everyone can have a party and have a rave. A rave. And there'll be confetti at the end, but everyone will just think it'll be confetti and it'll be like ashes.
I knew that's where that was going.
To live with the other people. I always have a little bit of me with them. Where am I going with this? I need to stop talking.
It's all right, because I could see exactly where that was going to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what I want to happen. After death, I want as much of me to be donated to help other people, because I don't need it when I'm dead.
No, you really don't.
And then the rest of me can be put in a place that my family deems suitable for their mourning. That's what. But I don't think knowing when I was going to die would change anything that happened after my death.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, it would also do, like, if I had kids or something, it might change it then. Yeah, it really depends if it's like 1 year or 10 years or 15 years away,
Yeah,
30 years away,
Yeah, and with knowing if it was soon or later, would you still want to know exactly when?
Yeah. Or would you want to just know if it was soon or later? Like, if it was just a vague answer rather than specific.
Yeah, but then if they
you
say
just knew the date or you just knew the cause, like if you only had half the information,
that would be terrifying. It's like, it's going to be soon.
I would rather know the
you're
cause
gonna
than the date.
But then you'd avoid that cause for the rest of your life.
No, because if it was like cancer or something, you'd just get checked.
Yeah, that's true.
And if it was a car crash, you'd be like, oh, well, I can't really avoid cars for the rest of my life because that's a bit inconvenient, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you'd just continue to live your life, but then every near-death experience you had in the car, you'd just probably like have a wee meltdown.
Probably.
But if it was like a would you rather know the date or the cause, I'd pick cause.
It's an interesting thought.
Would you pick date or cause?
I'd probably still go for date, because knowing me, cause would
just be the impending doom of the 27th of October 2027, like you'd be like, oh my God, that's the day I'm going to die. And then if you got to the 26th of October and nothing had happened, it wouldn't be pleasant.
Yeah. Yeah, because then you have to, it's going to be a, a violent death to get rid of you on the next day.
I know. So the cause, you could still, I feel like, live your freedom of your life without a deadline.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to get past, whatever that thing was and be able to go anywhere near that thing.
If in your first year of knowing nothing happened, I feel like you'd be like, well, nothing's happened. I can't live like this forever. And I feel like logic would just kind of, I would definitely have like a month or so of freaking out if it was like a car crash or something.
Absolutely.
I'd be like, oh my God. But then that could be 70 years in the future, like I'd still only be 91 then. Could still be alive and kicking.
Yes.
Who knows? It could be 91, die in a car crash.
Wonder if you'd be still driving at 91. Maybe that's why, because you're not supposed to be driving and you do.
Oh well.
All right.
Wonderful. I feel like it's time for the next question.
Yeah, and this will be our final question.
Oh no.
Do we want an easy one or a hard one to finish?
Or go for easy, and then if we blast through it too quickly, we can always quickly click another one.
Then we'll fit another one in. Yeah. All right. Start a question.
Oh, this is a dumb question.
All right. Next question. Here we go. Are you usually late, early, or on time? And why?
Well, I'm usually late. Depends on if it's something like that doesn't have urgency, I tend to be just a little bit late. But if it's something like a job interview or if it's like a friend's birthday or something, I'll tend to be just a little bit late. Not hectically, but if it's a job interview, I'm always early.
Good.
Or something that's important, like always early. If it's work, I'm always on time because I hate being early because I'm like, I'm not getting paid for this.
No, true.
My boss would probably listen to this podcast and be like, oh, that's why she's never early. But yeah, for work, it's usually right on the dot. Anything casual, I tend to have a little bit of freedom. It's only about maybe 15 minutes, but it's still late enough to be called late. But if it's important, then I'm always early.
Yeah, it's better to be early than late. I'm pretty good at, being right on time. Like when I printed out my visitor pass for the client site that I went to this morning, it was on the dot.
On the dot.
So it was pretty good.
I'm always, if it's something I do regularly, I'm on time because I know how long it takes me to get to the place.
Yeah.
Or if it's something new, I'm early. If it's something regular, I'm on time. If it's something super regular and of not that much importance, I'll be a little bit late. That is just in general. Like if something comes up, like today when I was 40 minutes late talking to you to do this podcast, that's because something came up. I didn't know that I was going to have someone over at my house this afternoon. But if that hadn't happened, then I probably would have talked to you at 6:30 when you messaged me.
That's all right.
So it would have been early. So just, I think I've answered every single answer. I'm like, I'm always late, early, and on time. Yeah.
Covering all your bases there. I can't remember if I answered the question or not.
You said you were always on time. You're really good at being on time.
Yeah. Occasionally I'm late for work, which is pretty bad. Usually it's because I leave at the same time every day, and one day out of like a month there'll be some freak, traffic jam or something. It's like,
doesn't exist.
Yeah, sometimes the roads get a bit clogged because I drive through the middle of Dunedin to get to work.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, my tea trading job is takes me 3.5 minutes to drive there from here, so I always just leave 10 minutes beforehand. And I always listen to last calls on ZM in the morning. That's how I know what the time is. When that finishes, I go inside and I'm perfectly on the dot. My other job, I have to be early because I have to put the till in. Yeah.
All right.
You get used to your own wee routine. Is that us?
That is us. Thank you for joining me.
It's alright. I hope I was interesting enough.
You were more than interesting. Well, I think so anyway. And no doubt we'll find out from the listeners what they thought. If you'd like to be on the show, you can go to tcbi.nz/guest form and sign up. Anybody is welcome to sign up, and I would love to talk with you. And until next time, to our listeners, add one friend to one episode of this podcast with two open minds and see where it leads. Thanks for listening.
Now that was interesting. Bye-bye.